You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Milwaukee Brewers prospect Josh Hader is the 57th ranked prospect in all of baseball according to MLB Pipeline, and we welcome you into episode number 57 of the Show Before the Show podcast. We will not be joined by Josh Hader, so I don't know why I led with that. Hi, Sam.
Hi. I was wondering what you were going to lead with, and I actually had that thought in my mind, and so I guess that works.
All right.
So,
okay.
Welcome to the Josh Hader, non-Josh Hader episode of the podcast.
The Josh Hader, but not Josh Hader episode of the show. Maybe at some point. Josh Hader's, he's too busy throwing perfect games on MLB The Show and dominating Brett Phillips and all that kind of stuff. Busy guy. But either way, we welcome you into the same numbered episode of his ranking on MLB Pipeline's Top 100 rankings. I'm Tyler Vaughn. He's Sam Dykstra in New York City. We do have a very exciting episode on the docket for you today. We will be joined by Stan Kiles, the pitching coach of the Triple-A Indianapolis Indians, one of the most talented rotations and bullpens in all of minor league baseball, through 23 games this season, an ERA for that entire organization of 2.81, which is pretty good for the Indianapolis Indians. So we'll talk a lot about Jameson Taillon. We'll talk a lot about Tyler Glasnow. But yeah, it's second month of the season, first full month of the season finally underway. In the 57th episode of the show before the show comes to you today. We'll also talk with Ben Hill a little bit later on in the show. Ben is getting set to head out for his first road trip of 2016, so we'll cover that as well. And we'll get started here on the 57th week of this show with three strikes, and we'll dive right in with first month in the books behind us already. Sam, April, breakout month for a lot of prospects. Who is your guy, if we were naming prospect of the month for this little podcast here, which, by the way, you can go rate, review, and subscribe to on iTunes. Nice little plug there. Who's your guy? Prospect of the month for April for strike one.
Yeah, so when I kind of thought of this topic, I thought of, combining really good first month with really good prospect status, who's kind of delivered on what we thought would be a lot of promise. And the guy I'm going to pick is Andrew Benintendi for my prospect of the month, a guy who has just delivered on pretty much everything we thought he could be in his first full season. The Red Sox sent him to Class A Advanced Salem, and he's just tore the cover off the ball there. Pretty much every aspect of the game. I mean, we've talked about in the past how he's got a little more power than you would expect out of a guy who's 5'10", 170 pounds. He is slugging 640, so he ticks that box. He's a guy with a little bit of a run tool. MLB.com has him at a 60 grade on the 20 to 80 scale, meaning he's got a plus run tool. Okay, he's got 6 steals. He's got a really good approach at the plate. So he's got a 360 average and 9 walks versus only 6 strikeouts. So a 360 average paired with a 426 on base percentage. That pop shows up that combination of pop and speed shows up in the fact that he's got 10 doubles and 6 triples, only the 1 homer so far. But I think part of that has to do with the fact that playing in Salem is a little bit more of a pitcher's park, at least when it comes to homers. So making that move to that specific space isn't going to mean he's going to hit plenty of homers, but the Red Sox have always said he is a gap-to-gap hitter. The homers might come down the line, but he's not going to be a 30-homer guy necessarily. He's much more of a guy who's going to bring you maybe 40 doubles a season and about 20 homers, and he's delivering on that promise so far. So he's just been that guy who the Red Sox have been able to plug in that very talented Salem lineup, and he's just been the catalyst right there in the middle of that lineup. Yohan Moncada also doing very well. That certainly helps. Mauricio Dubon at the top of the lineup. Rafael Devers not so much. But Benintendi's meeting all of our expectations. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in Portland, at the start of June, if not sooner. And there's a very real chance that he could become this year's Michael Conforto, and a guy that the Red Sox decide, he's meeting all the tests. He's beating all the tests. Let's see what happens if we can push him a little harder. I don't know exactly how Dave Dombrowski's going to kind of handle him, but if he continues to hit like he has in this first month, the Red Sox could have something really special on their hands. What about you, Tyler? Who did you kind of think of when I first put out this subject.
This has come about really over the last 10 days to 2 weeks or so, but I'm going to go with MLB.com's number 10 overall prospect, Brendan Rodgers, who is with the Class A Asheville Tourists in the South Atlantic League. Rodgers has just crushed the baseball over the last really about 10 days. I mean, he was already having a good month, a good start to the season as of the end of April. He was batting, as of April 20th, 275, 362, 529. Now coming into May 3rd, he is batting 345, 427, 595. That's his slash line. Closed the month of April at 338, 420, 597 because he has just been roaring at the plate over his last 9 games now. He's had hits in 8 of them. He's had multiple hits in 6 of those contests. In addition to that, his average is 455 over that span. That is the 6th best mark in all of minor league baseball. His OPS of 1223 is 12th best. He's also walked 3 times to match 3 strikeouts. And what I think is exciting about this for Brendan Rodgers is last year, the Rockies take him 3rd overall, and he didn't really blow people away at rookie-level Grand Junction. He finished strong, finished on a good note in the second half last season for the Grand Junction Rockies. Overall, ended up batting 273, 340, 420, which is a respectable line, but the Rockies jump him over short season Class A Boise. They send him to Asheville, which is not the easiest level to get acclimatized to at 18, 19 years old. He won't be 20 until August, but Rodgers has really shown he's the real deal. And especially with the way that it wasn't just a hot start and then, everybody adjusted to him and now he's still trying to get himself figured out. This has been a sustained progression as he's gotten later and later into the month of April. So the Rockies should be very excited about what Brendan Rodgers is doing. And what I think will be really interesting about this is if he continues to surge like this, do the Rockies then, similarly to what you're discussing with Benintendi, do the Rockies then choose to challenge him going forward? Does he make a jump to a level that's maybe a little high? Obviously, it's different, a college guy versus a high school guy. Rodgers, again, is only 19. Does he get the test at the California League before the 2016 season is out, being young for the level and really testing himself against some very advanced approaches? So whatever Zach Wilson and Jeff Bridich and the Rockies administration decided to do with him, they got a good one on their hands. And last year, a variety of leg injuries. He missed a lot of time, nagging stuff that really bothered Rodgers. But I talked to him during spring training, and his thing was, over the offseason, I work to get stronger. I work to get healthy. I want to get started strong. And he's doing that in spades right now. So that's my guy, first month of the season. And those are two fun guys to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just been really cool to see, we build up the season to be what it is. You preview these guys, and when we're talking about top prospects, you talk about top expectations. And not everybody's going to meet those expectations. So when guys do, I think I get more excited about that when we see somebody perform in the way we thought they would. And Rodgers and Benintendi are certainly two of those guys.
Denny Green would be proud. They are who we thought they were.
Yeah,
In fact, too, Sam, we're going to go the inverse of that. Players of the month we talked about a moment ago for the month of April. We're a month into the season now. Who do you see trending the other way? Whose stock is dropping from prospects?
Yeah, so for me, I kind of hate to do this, but, it's just the way we kind of look at these guys. Sometimes their stock is rising. Sometimes their stock is falling. For me, I think it's Sean Newcomb is a guy who could potentially drop when rankings come out again. You look at some of his numbers, and they are pretty good. He's got a 2.84 ERA so far at Double-A Mississippi, 24 strikeouts in 25 1/3 innings. He's holding batters to a 205 average against. So there are certainly some nice numbers there. But for me, the question for him coming into the season was, what was he going to do about his walks total? Last year, he was averaging about half a walk per inning, or a walk every 2 innings. He walked 76 guys in 136 innings while in the Angel system. This year he returns back to Double-A, albeit in a different system, and now he's walking 17 guys in his first 25 1/3 innings. Hasn't pitched longer than 5 1/3 innings in any start because of that. In his last 4 outings, he's walked at least 3, and he's walked 4 in 3 of those outings. So when we're talking about Benintendi, he was a guy who's kind of beaten the tests that I wanted to see. With Newcomb, he hasn't passed that at all. I know he had some control problems in his first spring training with Atlanta. They sent him down kind of early to work on that in minor league camp as opposed to in Grapefruit League action. And he's kind of carried that into the season. The thing about him is everything you read about him, you watch him, his delivery is especially clean. It's very easy. It looks repeatable. He's certainly a strong, sturdy guy. He draws comparisons to John Lester in that way because he is a kind of bigger left-hander. But he just has difficulty throwing strikes right now, and he hasn't quite figured that out through the start of the season. Can he figure that out? Yeah. I mean, he's still only 22, but if we're talking about projecting down the line, if he's not doing it now at Double-A, assuming that he's going to do it against better bats at Triple-A or the majors, is tough to predict right now. So he's taking a little bit of a bump right now in my book. MLB.com, again, has him at number 18. I think he would slip out of the top 20 for now if he doesn't improve, but there's still plenty of season left to do that, obviously.
We talked coming into this segment about, we'd come across guys from night to night that we thought, would fit the bill for this, and I couldn't remember any of them. And you and I discussed somebody that I was going to talk about for this segment, but then I remembered somebody who I actually wanted to discuss, which is a long, roundabout way of saying DJ Peterson and the Seattle Mariners system has really fallen off the mark over the last couple of seasons. This is a guy who, a couple of seasons ago, was very, very highly touted in that system. Comes into this year as the 6th-ranked prospect in the Mariners organization, but he's back through his 3rd tour through the Double-A level and just has never really been able to capitalize on the promise that he showed in 2013 when he broke in after being drafted in the first round. He was the 12th overall pick of that June's draft out of the University of New Mexico. 2013, really good with short season Class A Everett and full season Class A Clinton. The next season blew up with High Desert in the California League. OPS 997 over 65 games and got his first promotion to Double-A. But ever since then, hasn't been able to get it figured out at the Double-A level. Held his own decently in 2014. Last season really struggled. 92 games, only OPS 638. The Mariners tried promoting him to Triple-A Tacoma to see if that could jumpstart his bat a little bit. He suffered a season-ending Achilles injury. This year he's back in Double-A Jackson and just again is really struggling to get any sort of consistency. 226 average, a 624 OPS. DJ Peterson has dealt with a lot of really tough luck stuff. A couple of seasons ago, took a ball to the face. I think it was a foul ball to the face that ended up breaking his jaw and dealt with a bunch of issues coming off of that. So there was not a lot of luck that has gone along with the last few seasons with DJ Peterson, but that's a bummer because the Mariners were very, very high on him for a while. Corner infielder, a guy who has a really good compact swing, can generate some decent power, but has not been able to capitalize on it over the last couple of seasons, and due in large part to some health issues that he's dealt with. But certainly somebody that, if you're a Mariners fan, you hope can get it figured out and turned around. But as of right now, that stock has been dropping for a little bit over a full season.
Yeah, with somebody like that, too, they have the added pressure of being a first-round pick, and that just sets expectations so much higher. So when he did perform to that level, at a High Desert, which, as we all know, is a very offensive environment, it's kind of perfect for DJ Peterson. That even, kicks the expectations even higher, and he just has really had struggles meeting them ever since. So, this is maybe, a crossroads year for him. He's not heading down the right road right now. I think he's going to be 24 for all this season, but we'll see what happens here in the second month. Maybe he can turn around, or maybe they try to kick him up to Tacoma again and try that, and hopefully he stays healthy this time.
Strike 3, Sam. This is going to be a fun one because you put it. This is the terminology that was in the email today from Sam Dykstra. Quote, Maverick can wrangle possums. Who else would you trust to keep a ballpark safe? Some backstory. Sam, we've done this podcast now, Sam and I, for almost a year. The two of us together. Prior to that, it was Jake Seiner. Rest in peace, Jake. But a year before that, I wrote a story about one Brett Phillips, who has always been a big fan of our work, and we've always been a massive fan of Brett's work. Sam goes out and writes really illuminating stuff on what it means to be a prospect through advanced metrics, or some CBA stuff. He's covering the draft. He's doing all kinds of cool things. My stories, the big stories that I've written, have been about possums and ice cream sandwiches over my 3 seasons with MILB. But the possum story was a fun one. 2 years ago, a possum ambled out onto the field at full season Class A Quad Cities. Brett Phillips was there wielding his bat like a sword. They ended up getting the possum chased onto the infield. Somebody got it into a trash can. They took it outside of the ballpark and let it go and run free. Who's your guy? If you're going to pick a prospect to keep you safe from, there's all variety of animals that find their way into minor league ballparks. There was an alligator in a dugout in Charlotte, in Port Charlotte a couple of years ago. Who's your guy? Who are you going with?
Yeah, did you mention the fact that the possum came back for Brett Phillips and Biloxi? I may have missed you saying that.
So, no, but I did. No, I just totally forgot to throw that part in because I got so wrapped up in the initial one.
Okay.
So go, explain.
Yeah, that's the reason why we're bringing up this.
Right.
It's not just because I remembered that Brett.
It's just like a 2-year-old story.
Yeah, Brett
fired
Phillips,
up to lay the groundwork.
Got an opossum. So over the weekend, Brett Phillips did possums again. There was another one that came out to the outfield, and there's a great video on the site right now. There's a great GIF all over the internet of him chasing after the possum. The possum actually like looks back at him and kind of jumps after him, and Brett jumps back, and I mean, as any of us would. So that's what kind of kicked this off. There is a great story about it on the site with some great quotes from Brett Phillips about how if you're an opossum ever thinking about coming into a major league park or a minor league park, you best know that he's going to be there to get you.
Make sure that you take note. You will come across Brett Phillips.
Yeah. And this is where it's a great reminder that Brett Phillips' middle name is Maverick, which is just an awesome middle name in all accounts, but especially when you're wrangling possums. So just to have a little fun with this, I was trying to think of guys who I know have the best hands in the game, and somebody you would definitely want grabbing it and wouldn't let go. So who I kind of picked was Orlando Arcia. I have no idea if Orlando Arcia likes possums, if he would ever get near anyone. He might be afraid of them like most of the population, but Orlando Arcia, everybody you talk to says he's got great hands. He's a great defensive shortstop. He's quick. He can handle anything that comes his way. So he's somebody I think would be shifty enough to handle any movement that an opossum could give you on the field. The other idea I had was staying at the same position was Jorge Mateo, a guy with 80 speed. He could probably track down any opossum. I like to think any human could probably outrun an opossum, but having somebody that fast would also help. So those are my two options. I have zero inside information on if they have ever wrangled ballpark creatures, but yeah, those would be the first two on my draft sheet.
I'm just watching the video again of Brett Phillips, this poor possum, and the possum the thing that happens is like Brett's doing the right thing, chasing the like he's behind the possum, not super close, getting the possum toward the outfield gate, whatever. But then Brett looks away to, motion to whoever of like, all right, let's open this gate up, we'll get the possum. And that's when the possum slows down and turns around and freaks out. And possums are the ugliest creatures on earth. That's a horrifying thing.
Weird.
Yeah, and they got like the weird beady little eyes and everything. Like they're terrifying. And but the money quote from this story is Brett Phillips saying, "I may struggle with baseball from time to time, but I never struggle wrangling an opossum." Which the first time I wrote the initial story about Brett Phillips and a opossum, we had to have a long discussion of whether it's possum or opossum, which is annoying in itself. I have to go with, since we can't pick Brett Phillips for the story, I'm going to go with somebody who would just scare the possum into not attacking me. And I'm going to go with Joey Gallo, who is the most hulking human being I've ever stood by in my entire life. I interviewed Joey last year, not this past March, but March of 2015 at spring training. And it made me feel like that old Brian Regan bit where he talks about when you join a gym and they send you walking around the gym on the tour with the most muscle-bound, gigantic guy you can find. And it's like you're hanging off of him like a small little circus monkey going, "Where are we going, Thunder?" That was me and Joey Gallo, the biggest human being I've ever seen. So I think I just like hide behind Joey Gallo, and the sheer stature would terrify any possum away.
Aaron Judge would be really good for
that.
Aaron
Aaron Judge would be a good one too.
Having seen Aaron Judge in the flesh and stood next to him and got up to his hulking chest, I think that would scare me. And I'm 6 foot tall. I can only imagine what would happen to like a 2.5 foot long opossum.
Aaron Judge is listed at 6'7", 275.
Yeah.
Listed at 6'7", 275.
That's pretty much all muscle too. That is not
right.
That is not any fat.
For comparison's sake, because the MLB Pipeline write-up on Aaron Judge makes this comparison, Blake Griffin of Los Angeles Clippers is 6'10", 251 is what he's listed as. So there's some big dudes playing baseball. All right, so Aaron Judge or Joey Gallo will go on just the sheer size and terror metrics to scare away any ballpark invaders. So at least we know that after Brett Phillips is done with his career, which we hope is a long and productive career in the big leagues, he can just start a pest management company, and he's pretty well got it taken care of at this point. He has actual video evidence that he can handle, multiple occasions he can handle possums. Between that and providing laugh tracks to various sitcoms, I think Brett Phillips has A man of
good
many
careers.
talents.
Yeah.
So that wraps up this week's edition of Strike Three, or of Three Strikes rather, with Strike Three. You're on the 57th episode of the Show Before the Show podcast. Coming up next, we're going to head to Triple-A Indianapolis. Stan Kiles, the pitching coach of a very, very laden, talent-laden, prospect-laden, pitching-laden roster for the Indianapolis Indians. We'll talk some arms and some profiles of guys who are headed to Pittsburgh probably in pretty short order. Stan Kiles, the Indianapolis Indians, coming up next.
Watch the Stars of Tomorrow today on MILB TV. Before they made it to the show, stars like Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, and Chris Bryant were on MILB TV. Subscribe today to get more than 5,000 minor league games streamed live and on demand, including games from affiliates of all 30 major league clubs. Select All-Star and postseason games are also included. On the go? Watch on your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch with the free MILB First Pitch app. Visit MILB.tv for details.
One of the most exciting and talented pitching corps in all of the minor leagues is that of the Triple-A Indianapolis Indians of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. We are joined by Stan Kiles, the pitching coach of the Tribe for the 2016 campaign. And Stan, welcome into the show. How's the first month of the International League season treated you so far?
Well, not too bad. You know, like you said, I mean, we got some young kids here that are developing well and looking forward to each outing. So it's nice to watch them go out there and get better.
And this is kind of one of those stages this season where it seems like after a long period of waiting for one reason or another, Pirates fans are going to get a lot of talent on the way at some point, either this summer or later on toward the fall or whatever it is, because there are some very exciting components right now at that level that are a step below Pittsburgh. But obviously where everybody's going to focus is going to be on Tyler Glasnow and Jameson Taillon. And let's talk first about Jameson Taillon, because it's been a long road back from injury for him. But the start of this season has got to be as good as anybody could have expected so far. He's 2-0, an ERA of 1.54 in 4 starts. He's struck out 23 and 23 and a third, and he's only walked 2. I mean, if you guys could have diagrammed coming into this season through 4 starts through the first month of the year what best case scenario was going to be for Jameson Taillon, this has got to be pretty close to it, I would imagine.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's as best as we could ever hope for. He's feeling good. He's throwing the ball well. He's in a good frame of mind, and as I said earlier, looking forward to each start and getting better. So we're very pleased and happy for his success and the organization.
And with Taillon particularly, what have you guys kind of seen out of him? How has he kind of grown through this first month? I mean, the first hurdle was just showing that he's healthy after overcoming, that Tommy John surgery, the hernia problems last year. But how has he grown in each start so far this year?
Well, I mean, his pitch execution has gotten better each start, and obviously, I mean, he's feeling stronger and rejuvenated after each start. He's a very cerebral guy, so I mean, he's got the talent and the mental makeup, we think, to be a top line pitcher for a lot of years to come for us, and we're just happy that he's able to go out and shake off the last couple of years of inactivity due to the injuries. And like I said, I mean, it's great to see him out there enjoying pitching again and competing and getting better.
Sam, when you look at somebody like Jameson who goes through, I mean, Tommy John obviously is a kind of a derailing thing for anybody for that 1 year, but then for somebody like Jameson to have to go through last season, the hernia issue, does it almost benefit him in a way, maybe just retrospectively looking back at it now, in that he was able to get the arm basically fully healthy with an additional extended period of rest and rehabilitation beyond just the surgery, and mentally he gets to go out and get prepared. I mean, we heard him coming into this season saying things like, I never want to be sent to Triple-A again. I want this to be the last time I'm cut from a big league camp. Like his rhetoric, for lack of a better term, was so fiery coming into this season about how he is so ready to make that final step. Do you think that extra year out maybe had some benefits for him and that it just made him realize how hungry he really was to get there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, you can look at it on both sides of it. I mean, obviously, there's no substitution for experience and getting some things done and playing and all that. I mean, the game is the best teacher of all things, and we would much rather have him out on the field, learning and honing his craft and skills and doing that thing and staying away from being injured. But having said that, I mean, like I said, I mean, he's a very cerebral kid, very into himself and knows what he wants to do. I mean, I think he spent a lifetime preparing himself for the big leagues, and unlike any other pitcher that I've ever worked with. And I think that's going to pay dividends for him. So, yes, the time that he had off, I don't think he wasted any of it. The game is always running in his head, and I'm pretty sure he took that time to get himself mentally prepared to work and get healthy again, but also to put himself in a position where, when he hits the ground running, he'll be ready to run, mental as well.
And I kind of want to pivot to Glasnow now. Tyler talked about him a little bit before, but just kind of quickly touch on him. Everybody likes to talk about he keeps the ERAs nice and low everywhere he's gone, keeps the strikeout numbers nice and high. He's got 37 strikeouts right now in 26 innings, striking guys out left and right for you guys so far in his first 5 starts. But the thing everybody talks about with him that he needs to take the next step is his control and perhaps his changeup. His fastball and curveball, you hear excellent reports on those, but it's the changeup that kind of needs to catch up. How are you guys kind of working with him on that particular pitch and control of all 3 of his pitches kind of individually?
Well, I think over the last couple of outings, he's done just that. I mean, he's incorporating his changeup into his repertoire very well. He's got great raw abilities, but he's learning fast the art and beauty of the game. It's something that he looked forward to doing this year. He understands and realizes that, there's another level that he has to get to on the mental side of the game, because he's already dotted his I's and crossed his T's on a lot of the physical stuff. He loves working out, and he's in great shape, and just an outstanding specimen, obviously. But, he's really coming fast as far as the art of the game, and the changeup is just another weapon, and he's understanding how to use it. His fastball and curveball are above average major league pitches, as you've said, and he's honing the skills and getting better, and it's nice to watch him develop this side of his game, and I'm really looking forward to him going out there every 5th day.
Yeah, and when you talk about you personally looking forward to him, a lot of teams have these pitchers. I remember back in the day, Pedro Martinez used to pitch for the Red Sox. They called it Pedro Day. People used to count down until that. I know you guys are stock full of really good pitchers, but how much is there kind of like a Glasnow or Taillon Day where it seems like there's just an extra buzz in the ballpark when those 2 guys take the mound?
Well, there is. I mean, there's obviously a buzz in the clubhouse. We got Taillon going tonight, and we're looking forward to that. After a loss last night, we know that he's going to go out and give us a great chance to win. But again, it's, we've got 4 or 5 guys here in our starting rotation who are, we think, are have legitimate chances to become frontline major league starters, and not just Taillon and Glasnow, but also Chad Kuhl and Stephen Brock. Trevor Williams is a guy that's getting back in shape now too, and we have a sleeper and Wilfredo Boscan, who's probably our most dependable guy as far as going out and giving us a chance. So, it's a staff that I never had the opportunity to work with, I should say, 1 through 5 and 6, and it just gives you an extra buoyant, coming to the ballpark and knowing that you got a chance to go out and see something special.
Talking with Stan Kiles, the pitching coach of the Triple-A Indianapolis Indians and the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. And Stan, you mentioned there are a couple of guys who are maybe a little bit under the radar. Wilfredo Boscan is kind of a minor league veteran guy who's been fantastic for you guys so far this season, an ERA of 2.05 through 4 starts. But you also mentioned Stephen Brault, and he kind of flies somewhat under the radar, I guess, comparatively to the guys like Taillon and Glasnow coming into this season. But he's MLB Pipeline's number 17 ranked Pirates prospect. His numbers this season have been outstanding. He struck out 30 in 23 2/3 innings, and he's limited opponents to a 253 average against. If you could give kind of a scouting report for people who maybe are not as familiar with this left-hander, what makes him successful?
Well, I mean, he's got 3 pitches that we think are major league average and better with his fastball, breaking ball, and changeup. But I think what sets him apart is his, he's got great feel for a left-handed pitcher, a young guy, very competitive, loves contact, likes pitching contact, and he's not going to back down from any team or lineup. And he's with these guys, and he's not backing down any. I mean, he thinks he's just as good as the top line guys here. And he's going out and he's looking forward to proving it every night, and he's done well with that thus far. He had a little bump in the road last night. I thought he was trying to do too much, but he bounced back. He comes to the ballpark today and said, let's look at some video, let me correct some things, and I can't wait to get back out and get my bullpen done and get back out there. So, great mentality, great attitude, and we think he's got a chance to be special as well.
And one more, Stan, we'll leave you on this one. We know you got to get back out there for tonight's game, but how does this group kind of work as a group? I mean, we're talking about 5 guys in a rotation, all putting together quality numbers. The stats say that they're kind of feeding off each other a little bit, although they're putting together really good individual numbers. But how does this group, as it's set up, kind of feed off each other, work with each other? Does that dynamic exist in that kind of clubhouse, or is it just 5 really good talents who all happen to be just stringing together good starts?
Well, I think it's a lot of all of the above. I mean, these guys really love being around each other. In a little while here, I'm going to take them in the cages, to do some hitting, and they're looking forward to that. They really like to get on each other, but compete against each other. And I don't think they're not looking at each other trying to one up this guy. I think they really enjoy watching the other guy go out and perform well, and it gives all of them confidence knowing that they can do it as well. Watching their friends and brothers going out there and doing well, and it gets them going. As I said, it gives them a lot of confidence in their outing as well. So. I think there's that little undercurrent of, and I want to one up this guy as you all have. Anytime you have, some alphas out there and, everybody's trying to one up each other, there has to be that little undercurrent going, but it's just so positive, and, that they are feeding off each other a little bit. And, they're all going to have their little bumps in the road. This game is hard, and as the newness wears off in this league, they're going to have to get down to the nitty-gritty of, pitch execution and all of those things that go into winning baseball at the next level. But, they're looking forward to that as well. That, they got the other alpha dog in there with Chad Cool, who's just cool and calm, and he's just like his name is, and he's leading the bunch and keeping everybody nice and level. So it's a great thing to watch, and as I said, I'm looking forward to coming to the ballpark each day, knowing that I'm going to have a guy out there I'm going to enjoy immensely watching.
Last season, under Stan Kiles, the Indianapolis Indians led the International League with a 3.09 staff ERA. They are well on the way to bettering that this season at 2.81 through 23 games. Stan, congrats on a good start and a really exciting staff, and thanks a ton for spending a little time with us. Best of luck tonight and the rest of the way.
All right, much appreciated.
One of the staples of a Benjamin Hill road trip across the country is stoppage at old-time record stores, finding out the musical identity of a community. Last week, Ben dropped some sweet country music knowledge, and as we welcome in Benjamin Hill for this week's edition of our conversation with Ben, our first promo is a very Ben promo. First off, Ben, how are you?
Hey, I'm a very Ben guy. I am Ben, and I'm happy to be here. Hi, guys.
This is like the perfect promo. It was in this week's edition of Promo Watch. The Fresno Grizzlies, who have become, one of those teams, one of the real cornerstone teams of minor league baseball over the last, decade plus, really. But some of the really cool stuff they've done promotionally and with theme nights and with the uniforms and all that. Thursday was Classic Vinyl Night in Fresno. And Ben, tell us about Classic Vinyl Night. I feel like this is something you would really, really have enjoyed to attend.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, as soon as I saw the Grizzlies were doing this, I was like, I'm going to write about it because I think it's a good idea. And, I want to use my platform to advocate other teams to do this. But in a nutshell, what they did, it's classic vinyl night. As we all know, vinyl's had a resurgence over the last decade or so. Plus, record stores are, not as strong as they once were, but doing better than I think we all thought they would be doing 10 and 7 and 8 years ago. So it's great to support physical media, record store culture, and the Grizzlies did that by having 10 area record stores from all throughout Central Valley, California, set up on the concourse, as well as some private collectors, and they had a record trade show on the concourse. And so fans, for a certain type of baseball fan or a certain type of person, me included, to have a record fair on a concourse, on a baseball stadium concourse, is really like a combination of like literally the two best things there are, records and music and baseball. So I think to combine those is a natural thing. I hope a lot of teams pick up on this, and they also they tied it in also to a Beatles tribute band playing after the game, and a band called Beatleville, and they set up right on the field after the game, and that seemed like it went well too. And I think they're going to do this promotion in the future, and I hope other teams pick up on it. So that's what I got excited about.
And there's one quote I wanted to kind of touch in on your story. They talked about next year they hope to be doing a similar promo for 50th anniversary of Sgt. Pepper's, and the quote given is, "I think we can really blow that one up." Now, when I think of blow up and records, I think of Disco Demolition Night. Was that a direct reference, or am I just looking too hard into things?
Yeah, I think you're looking too hard into that. I'm all for looking too hard at words and finding connections that aren't there, so I sympathize. But no, I do think the Grizzlies' June 1st, 50th anniversary of Sgt. Pepper's, June 1st, 2017, and I would not be surprised if the Grizzlies and perhaps other teams maybe go the theme jersey route that night if they're able to swing it.
The tough thing is, as far as a Sgt. Pepper's theme jersey would go, the whole thing about Sgt. Pepper's and the album cover and all that is everybody looked wackily different. I feel like if you were going to go Beatles tribute, you would go the early stuff with the suits, and that would be so easy to replicate in a theme jersey thing. It'll be interesting to see the way, because that does have the feel of one of those things that a lot of teams will jump on board with.
Yeah, what would be the easiest Beatles theme jersey?
What?
The White Album.
That's true. That is true. That's a really easy one.
Or you could just have your normal jerseys and let it be. I'm just saying.
Sam Dykstra dropping the very good Benjamin Hill style jokes. I like it. I like that one. Ben, let's move along to you are finally hitting the road. It is the end of April. We're now fully into May for the first week, and you got your first road trip on the docket. The Carolinas are up first in 2016.
Yeah, I'm finally hitting the road a little later this season, but I wanted to get in a season rhythm this year, not hit the road right away, but just write about some promos, follow along with the overall scene, and then really dive in once I felt fully acclimated to the season. As an older man, I get more and more sensitive every year to how I do things. So, first trip of the season, it is starting on Friday. I'm going to hit Greensboro Grasshoppers on Friday night, May 6th, and that it starts off a North and South Carolina-based trip. I'm not really moving in a circle, but I'm flying into Durham, then going to Greensboro, then going back to Durham, and then going into South Carolina, of course, the new ballpark, Columbia Fireflies, and ending the trip more or less kind of sort of back where I started in Zebulon on May 13th. So it's going to be a lot of bouncing back and forth through the Carolinas, 7 ballparks during the week, and a very rich, fertile area for minor league baseball, the Carolinas, and I'm looking forward to it.
And one thing I'm looking forward to hearing you report back on is you're going to be there for Star Wars night at Durham Bulls Athletic Park, when you're there for Durham. And it's a tribute to Han Solo. I kind of love that they're just throwing the spoiler out there. If you haven't seen the newest movie, too bad. You're getting it blown up now. But what are you expecting to see that night?
Well, I'm expecting a lot of good visuals. I've only been to one Star Wars night in my whole minor league traveling career, and it was Lexington Legends, and they were just kind of doing it for the first time, and it was a weeknight, and it wasn't a totally blown out Star Wars night. This one, I think, is going to be all the bells and whistles with the theme uniforms and tribute to Han Solo. I'm sure many members of the local 501st Garrison Whoever those locally based groups are, where they send the characters out to the ballpark. So I'm just expecting, and it's the Durham Bulls. They do things well. They market well. Good video board and signage and marketing. I'm sure there'll just be a Star Wars element to everything. So I'm just kind of looking forward to taking it all in, and hopefully coming back with a lot of good visuals. I have to admit, I'm not personally the biggest Star Wars fan, but I am excited to be at this one because I think this will be one of the best Star Wars nights, and I'm looking forward to immersing myself in it to the extent possible.
He is Benjamin Hill. You can find him on Twitter. He is at Ben's Biz. You can check out the blog, bensbiz.mlblogs.com as well. And road trip season is here, which is always a big thing. Ben, what's been the response you've gotten to the ballpark story? As we talked about last week, Ben was putting together a piece that is now up at MILB.com about the ballpark. I mean, the run of ballpark construction that we have seen over the last 3 decades, basically. Ben had tracked that it was all the way back to 1980. 1980 was the last time that there had not been a new ballpark that opened in the minor leagues. 2017 looks as if it'll be that way as well. What's the response been like to that?
Well, I think a lot of people found it interesting seeing this long run of consecutive years in which a new minor league ballpark opened. But I have to admit somewhat shamefacedly that I had to tweak the article a little bit because once I started listing defunct ballparks that opened in the 80s, there were some I missed, and so when readers see something that they know and you, the author, didn't, they really let you know. And I take responsibility for that, and I kind of tweaked the article to make it a little more simpler and kind of take out some of the defunct parks so we could just see the streak of active, still going parks that have opened year by year by year by year. But as you guys know, writing in minor league baseball, there's often no central source for certain types of information.
Yeah,
and
that is
I really dove down a rabbit hole I did not mean to go so deep into in trying to track every ballpark opening all the way through the 80s. Because you think you have them all, and then it's just like, oh, well, what about the main guides who played in the International League?
Holy cow.
To Scranton Wilkes-Barre? Or what about the Rockford whoever who played in Marinelli Park in the Midwest League? And I had done my best research I could. I've been in touch with the minor league headquarters in St. Pete and gotten some info from them. Twitter, which is not something as a journalist you should rely on for information, but always like trying to get information from people on Twitter and social media to chime in. I thought I had it pretty well down, and there were a few I missed, and the self-righteousness of many in my readership came out to the fore and let me know how wrong I was. I love my readers. I'm sorry.
It's good that they have that intensity, though, that they read your stuff and get that passionate about it.
Oh, I love it. But sometimes I do something I'm very proud of and get no feedback, and then I make a mistake in a list, and it's just like, I hope this wasn't an intentional omission. Some sort of comment on my region in which I live, and I'm like, come on, man. I do my best. I really do my best to cover 160 teams.
It's not easy.
And earnestly and with passion and skill and respect, and I leave out your team on a list of stadium openings and it's a comment, it's some sort of hidden slight. It's okay though.
That happened to me last year at spring training. I accidentally mixed up East and West, with which ballparks were on which side of Phoenix, and somebody was so irate with me, and I thought, sorry, it's the first time that I've had to lay anything out geographically in the Phoenix area. So no, we're not slighting any of you. Sometimes we just have a lot of stuff to cover, and it's tough. By the way, I just wanted to point out the main guides played at a ballpark called The Ballpark. That was the actual name of the ballpark in which the Maine Guides played, which is a team that I have never heard of, but they played in Old Orchard Beach, Maine, which apparently the ballpark is still around, and it still hosts what I would assume is baseball, because what else could you do at a place called the ballpark? Very inventive.
That's a great name. I love it. I could give some guesses as to what else they could do there, and I don't know, maybe it'd be in the ballpark.
Benjamin
That wasn't even good. I'm out of here. I'm walking out of the door right now.
And you can find him in the Carolinas coming up this week. Do you need any designated eaters? Have you found everybody?
I think I might need one in Myrtle Beach, May 10th.
What the heck, man? Maybe I should just try to find a plane ticket. We had discussed this. I could be the designated radio guy. Myrtle Beach's radio broadcaster becomes your eater. We all slot around, move in, be one hell of a promotional night. Okay, we'll discuss. I'm not actually going to do that, but just thought we'd throw it out there. Awkward ending. Ben's Biz and at the blog, bensbiz.mlblogs.com. Ben, enjoy the Carolinas. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you from the road next week.
From the road.
All right.
Enjoy it. Be safe. I feel like I've been a train wreck for the majority of the show today, but my favorite part of episodes of the show before the show is when I make a joke that falls flat on its face at the end of our segment with Ben, and then I have to awkwardly tap dance my way out of it.
Yeah, we were saying right after that ended, like, we have to come up with a new rating system for just the awkwardness of the Ben ending. Because it's always like we don't know how to say goodbye to him because he's still going to be in the room.
Right.
But he's also going to leave, and we're still going to be here. So how do we tread those waters? And sometimes it's just like, thanks for being on, Ben. Yep, talk to you guys next week, and then he leaves.
And that works fine.
Yeah, but then like there's days like today where like we won't see you for a while, so what do we say? But we will talk.
That's kind of a thing, and then
Yeah, so if anybody has like a rating, if anybody wants to indivially rate the endings of Ben's segment,
the endings of our segments with Ben, and because our interview segments always end very well. Like the guys are always very appreciative, and they give us the thanks for having me on or whatever. But generally I'm going to make a terrible joke, and since I'm not in the same room as you guys, I can't tell if there's at least a snicker. So then I just awkwardly have to say, "Okay, Ben's on Twitter. You could follow Ben there." And then get out of it that way. So yeah, give us a little rating system for how we can wrap up our Ben's Biz banter segments.
All units of measure are acceptable.
What do we got coming up on MILB TV this week? What are you excited for? By the way, big thanks to Ben. Big thanks to Stan Kiles as well from the Indianapolis Indians. I have a feeling that could factor into our MILB TV suggestions.
Yeah, it's almost like we talked about this a little bit beforehand.
Look at this programming.
Yeah, well, we've got the Indianapolis Indians on the brain. If you heard what Stan Kiles had to say, what we've had to say, and want to check them out for yourself, they are playing the Louisville Bats this weekend. Chad Kuhl is slated to pitch on Friday. Tyler Glasnow on Saturday. It's TBD right now on Sunday, but I think that's going to be Brault, who you asked Kiles about before, Tyler. So you'll get to see that rotation in action. It's going to be a fun one playing against Louisville because Louisville has a couple of good prospects themselves, and Jesse Winker and Jose Peraza. So you won't be missing out on that side of the game too, and potentially they have a really good rotation themselves. Their rotation hasn't quite been set up yet, but they've got Cody Reed, Robert Stevenson is still with the team. So any chance you could get to see some of those guys, and plus a really talented staff in Indianapolis. Not to mention Josh Bell is there. They have some pretty good offensive players as well. So if you get a chance, listen to this podcast, like what you hear. Check them out for yourself this weekend on MILB TV. I think starting Friday, Louisville will be heading to Indianapolis.
I'm going to pick a game on Friday, and I'm also going to pick a game on Saturday that has something to do with what we were discussing earlier, but sticking on Friday, where Sam's discussion was as well. 9:05 Eastern Time, the Tacoma Rainiers visit the Albuquerque Isotopes. Former highly rated Mariners prospect James Paxton off to a good start, a 3-2 record, a 3.42 ERA. He's on the road taking on Jeff Hoffman, the number 4 Rockies prospect, who has been flat out filthy so far this season. Hoffman's got an ERA of 1.52 through his first 5 outings this year, a whip of 1.04. He has been very, very good for Albuquerque, so a good matchup there. And then coming up on Friday night as well in Tennessee, Sam a little bit earlier had talked about Sean Newcomb, the number 2 ranked Atlanta Braves prospect. Newcomb will take the hill for the Mississippi Braves on the road at Tennessee, taking on Paul Blackburn and the Tennessee Smokies. Paul Blackburn, maybe you haven't heard of as of yet. You might want to take notice of him because through 5 starts this season, Paul Blackburn is 3-0 with a 0.29 ERA. He's allowed 1 earned run through his first 31 innings. So keep an eye on that matchup because that could be a lot of fun. So both those games Friday night as well. I think I said one of them was Saturday, which was a lie, and I apologize for it. Very sorry.
Well, you have corrected yourself now. So
we're all good.
Yeah, adjust their schedules accordingly.
That one only gets 2 bends on the rating system.
There we go.
So there you go. You have my apologies. But a lot of good matchups Friday night and over the weekend on MILB.TV. And that's going to do it for episode number 57 already of the Show Before the Show podcast. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you head on over to iTunes Podcast, give us a rating and a review and a subscription there. We're getting all kinds of good ones as of late. A full 5 stars across the board, I think, so far, which is always exciting. So go head over there and let us know what you think. You can also email us your questions, thoughts, comments, whatever you have, podcast@milb.com. Sam's on Twitter. He is at Sam Dykstra, MILB. I'm on Twitter at Tyler Mon. And Sam, good work. Nice work.
Yeah, this was a good one this week, and
Enjoyed it.
we'll have another good one next week with Ben calling in this time. So we'll see how many Bens that gets.
Ben on the road. We'll see what the Ben rating is for the first Ben on the road of the 2016 season. Until then, enjoy another full week of minor league action. We'll talk to you then.